Hello, hello. Welcome back to Gillberg's Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Mark Bray. Dwayne Gill there at the end. Gillberg.
You know it, brother.
Man, it's been a great show today.
Oh, man.
We've had a lot of fun here with Ricky Blues, and I'm going to continue to call him that. And Lord Timothy Walker, thank you guys for being on the show. We like to end the show with a little segment we call the Fast Five. I'm going to ask you guys a question, and you're going to give me 5 answers.
Oh, we ran out of time.
And we're out of time, so unfortunately...
That was fast, wasn't it?
That was too fast.
Tim, we're going to start with you.
Uh-oh. I'm on a hot seat now.
We touched on earlier in the show that you have been a part of covering many matches over the years. You've taken many shots. You've written many stories. Give me, and it doesn't have to be in any particular order, the top 5 matches that you've been able to cover that are on your, if you needed to give me a resume of the top 5, what would they be?
Wow, that's tough.
And that's why we don't tell you about this before time, because you're on the spot.
I would say the Abdul the Butcher and Abuda Singh match, just for its historical significance and the amount of coverage that took place in the magazine over that match. It's still a match all these years later, still remembered to this day, just for the brutality and violence involved in it.
It really was, man.
That was crazy. As a matter of fact, they had a series of matches there in Clementon, and Abdul the Butcher and Abuda Singh, just some crazy wild out-of-the-ring brawls, which even involved Dwayne Gill trying to break them up outside the ring, and even Larry Sharp himself trying to break things up outside the ring. And Larry was just a local legend there. He was like royalty in that town. And when Larry came out and tried to break things up, the whole place just went crazy. But nonetheless, we've got 4 more matches that I've got to think of here.
Especially when Abby gave him the fork.
Oh,
Abby gave Larry the fork, man. The crowd, I thought Abby's going to get killed that night, man.
I thought there was going to be a riot because that town loved Larry Sharp.
Yep.
He was a local hero. He could do no wrong there. Just a great guy. I really miss him.
Oh, I miss Larry Sharp. I went to his funeral and everything, brother. I miss Larry big time. I owe, you know, as far as any fame, anything I have, I owe to Larry. You know, Barry Hardy, I owe to teaching me how to wrestle. But any fame and everything, the WWF, everything, I owe to Larry Sharp.
Yeah.
You know, I'll never
People
forget
want to talk
that.
about old school. Larry was.
Oh, man. He was so cool,
classic.
man. He was so cool. Dwayne, Dwayne.
And that's why we want to bring you guys back next week, because we can get into all of that stuff.
Yes. Great.
So you still got 4 to go, buddy. Don't think I'm off track.
Another
Mark,
match.
don't forget.
Another match that I can really remember, and it had a lot of significance to it too. One night at the Baltimore Arena, it was during the height of the NWO. I remember Hulk Hogan and Sting inside of a steel cage. And I think it was a Tuesday night at the Baltimore Arena. Of all nights, a Tuesday night. And the place was sold out.
Wow.
Completely sold out. Also on my list, I'd have to say the night that Ron Simmons beat Vader for the title in Baltimore. One of the absolutely loudest pops you would ever hear. It was incredible to see people jumping up and down out of their seats as they watched that. So I was really fortunate to be there for that one. Another one that I really am lucky that I got the chance to see was the night in Hershey. Saturday night's main event. I was there live for this one. I got to see the night that the Honky Tonk Man pushed down Miss Elizabeth and broke her strap, and she had to run to the back to get Hulk Hogan in order to get Hulk Hogan to help Randy Savage against the Hart Foundation and the Honky Tonk Man. Talk about incredible when she's pulling Hulk Hogan down the aisleway and the light just shines on them, and she's dragging Hulk by the arm to get him to come into the ring to help Randy Savage. That whole thing was just amazing.
Give me one
to
more.
See. Oh, one more. There's been so many over
Typical
the years.
fan. One more match. One more match. One more
Let the
match.
man retire in peace.
Okay, I've got another one. The night Tracy Smothers wrestled the Dirty White Boy and won the Smoky Mountain title in a chain match in Kentucky. That was incredible. And on the undercard of that match was a build-up between three teams. It was the Stud Stable, it was the Rock and Roll with Arn Anderson, and it was the Heavenly Bodies with Bobby Eaton in a three-way tag team. It was just, that was probably the best card I've ever seen in my life. And it was completely sold out in the middle of nowhere in Pikeville, Kentucky. I traveled 8 hours to get there, and I was so darn glad that I had the chance to cover that one.
Fantastic. Thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you
Can't
for
wait for
having me.
next week.
Thank you,
I
brother.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. You've wrestled a lot of guys.
Yes, sir.
You've been in the ring with a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
So you have the benefit to have been sitting there for a few minutes.
To collect some thoughts.
I can think of a couple of guys that I would think would be on your list, and I'm going to see if it lines up. But top 5 opponents that you think define you in your
that's
career.
good. Well, I'll start right off with the very first feud that I was in. And that was with Agent Orange. If you're talking about career defining, I learned so much from Agent Orange. Bruce Weinstein,
Yes,
what a
sir,
fabulous,
brother.
fabulous technician, a guy who's overlooked, in the annals of the history, but who's contributed so much right off the bat. My feud with him, I loved it. I would also say, I'm going to say the Cream Team, both Dave and Rip.
Okay.
Learned so much tag team and the psychology of tag team from them. And I could throw the Lords of Darkness in that same place as well, learning so much from that. Ted Petty, the Cheetah Kid.
Oh,
Not as much in the ring, because I was only in the ring with
As
him a couple
out of the
times.
ring.
Right, and they were battle royals.
He would talk and
Yes,
talk. And
you
teach
learned so
and
much.
teach.
Yes. So Rocco Rock is what the people came to know him as, the Cheetah Kid, but Ted Petty. What an incredible person to gather so much from. And that was behind the scenes. Still fortunate enough to be in the ring with him. I also...
Give me 2 more.
2 more. So I take a look at the Lightning Kid. Sean
There it is. I was waiting for
Sean-
that one.
and I look at that one. We had a great feud, and we were in Maryland and Pennsylvania.
You guys, man,
New
used
Jersey
to go
too.
at it, man.
And Sean is a great guy, and he is actually, my opinion, one of the people who brought that entire light heavyweight scene to the forefront. And I don't know that he gets credit for that because the whole NWO and the Six era and all that overshadows it. But he's a pioneer. I mean, he's a great friend of mine, great friend of ours. Great pioneer, learned so much, learn not to be afraid in the ring. Because a lot of times you have, it's not fear, but it's an anxiety. He showed me how to relax and go with it, follow that flow. So I love that. And I'll go back to Balls Mahoney. I was in the ring with Balls Mahoney in 3 different iterations. I was Watsumi under the hood when I wrestled him. Was he a Buddha at that time?
I think so.
And that was in the NWA. That was as a Buddha Singh.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a
Yes,
Buddha.
yes. So when Dennis Caruso
Carluso.
ran the NWA in New Jersey, I wrestled him there. Wrestled him in Maryland Championship Wrestling as Balls Mahoney. And then we were in New Jersey so many different times with him. But being in the ring, he was the very first real heavy guy, because he was 340
Yep.
at that time when I was working, and I was maybe 220. But he taught me a lot about how you can even those things to sell it to the people. So I look at those 5 right off the bat as people I learned so much from.
Fantastic. Ricky Blues, Tim Walker, thank you guys for coming on
Guys,
this program.
thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. I really
Thank
do.
you for having
you.
us. Absolutely.
Next week, we're going to get into a little bit more about what you guys are doing now. And I think that is what I'm the most excited to talk to you guys about. And we're going to talk about the things that you've been doing personally outside of the ring.
Awesome.
And man, thank you guys for being on our show. Obviously, you guys have been doing this a heck of a lot longer than we are, and we're grateful that you guys came in to be on our program to talk about these things. Guys, thank you for coming on the show. Mark Bray here. Dwayne Gill. We're going to be back next week with these
Thank you.
guys.
And
Ring that
it's
bell.
that time
Let's get
again.
out of here. We'll see you next week.